Hey everybody, I'm the Drink Pro. Today I'm drinking the Remus Volstead Reserve, the 100th Anniversary Edition. What's up guys, Drink Pro here. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoy the channel and will consider liking, subscribing, sharing with your friends. And if you really like the channel, I hope you'll consider joining the Patreon, getting extra content, and buying me a drink every once in a while, essentially. Today, I've got a wonderful pour from an anonymous donor. Shout out, Mr. Anonymous. I've got a motion graphic being put together soon. This man has been so generous to me that I wanted to put together something fun, but I don't have it ready yet. So apologies that I can't show you the glory of the video today, but in the future, when I get this anonymous donation from this mystery donor, I will be sure to include a fun little animation. Now, most people that have spent some time with whiskey know MGP. MGP is an Indiana brand in Lawrenceburg, and they make a lot of bourbon and rye. They actually supply a huge swath of the market. When you see brands, especially new brands coming up, there's a good chance that they're MGP distillate that they're doing something with. Even young established brands like Smoke Wagon rely heavily on MGP products. For a long period of time, MGP didn't release any of their own products, but they've recently started to release more and more. The George Remus brand is one of the very few brands that is actually an MGP exclusive, meaning MGP doesn't source this whiskey to someone else. MGP is selling the George Remus brand. And the Volstead Reserve is in celebration of the 100th anniversary of George Remus. So the Remus Volstead Reserve is only being released one time. It's a very limited release. They've only done 6,000 bottles according to this sample. This is from bottle 1811 of 6,000. It's also a 14-year-old whiskey, and it's bottled in bond, which means it's 100 proof, it's from one growing season, and a couple of other things that I've talked about in the past, and I'm sure I will talk about again in the future. But 14 years old is a good age statement for a whiskey. Bourbon coming from MGP that's in the 12-year range often fetches really high dollars, so it's no surprise that this particular pour is quite expensive. $200 is about the price I've seen a bottle of the Volstead Reserve going for. I'm really happy that I get to try this pour. I've seen it a couple times, and I just never was comfortable dropping $200 on a bottle. That's a lot of money for me. You know, I get a lot of great taste from you guys. The generosity of my fans is the only reason I'm able to keep doing this. So thank you all so much. Thanks, Anonymous, for this pour. But I really wanted to find out if it's worth something like $200. So I'm really looking forward to trying it. One other fun fact is the bottle that's going into this sample was opened on March 26th of this year, 2020. Why is that significant? Because my birthday is March 27th. So let's go ahead and nose this. Now, the Volstead Reserve is made up of their higher rye mash bill. It's 75% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley. And you can kind of smell that rye on the nose. There's a definite rye spice that shows up. Matter of fact, most of what we consider the classic rye flavor in today's markets comes from MGP. The MGP profile is a classic rye profile for a lot of people. It's not necessarily the case that all ryes taste or smell like that. Ryes have a pretty wide variety of flavors and profiles. The Alberta Premium Cast Strength Rye is a great example. I've got a review of that coming soon. But the MGP rye is now almost considered the classic standard rye. And you can really smell on this high rye mash bill that rye characteristic and the qualities. It's not as sharp and clean as a standard rye pour, but it's definitely there. I'm also getting a really good cocoa note, like this sweet chocolate. It's pretty nice. I'm also getting oranges, like maybe chocolate-covered oranges with a hint of clove. There's this wonderful spicy, slightly herbal note, too. This doesn't have the rounded caramel notes. This doesn't have the big woody qualities. It's not a vanilla bomb or a caramel bomb. It's light and spring and citrus and flowers. The baking spices definitely show up, but they're not being covered with that rich sweetness that you get from a lot of the honey baking spice combos. All the sweetness in this pour is much lighter, and it almost has a very floral quality, even though I don't really think there's a specific flower I would attribute to it. The floral quality is definitely there. All right, let's go ahead and give this a taste. That's good stuff. It is MGP all over. If you've had MGP products, this is quintessential MGP high rye bourbon. I'll put on some examples right here of different kinds of MGP high rye bourbon, but this reminds me a lot of that kind of standard fare. It's very good. This is like the ideal presentation of a standard MGP high rye bourbon, but it's not blowing the lid off of things. It's not going a very different direction. This is what you'd expect from MGP. Now, some of you are watching this video and going, what the fuck does that mean? I've never had MGP. I don't know if I've had MGP. Give me some flavor notes. Okay, I can do that. It's got a slight bitterness up front, actually. There's that grain, there's that herbal quality, subtly sweet, soft honey, still very floral, definite rye spice. You get a little bit of cinnamon on the finish, a touch of pepper on the finish. You start to get a little bit of that oak, that fresh oak on the finish as well, but it's very subtle. Oh, this whole thing's been doing that with that shit going. Fuck. Well, you know what? I'm going to have a fan going in this review. I'm not turning it off. I'm not changing the course here. That constant steady drone is peaceful and soothing or some bullshit. Yeah, the cocoa note in the front of the palate's very prominent. Subtle sweetness with the honey quality in the mid-palate. There's a lot of good notes. I mean, I could keep going and probably keep coming back and mulching over the same notes over and over again, but I don't think I will. Really, what I wanted to try with this is it going to be something unexpected? And it's not. It is MGP all over. It's exactly what you'd expect. And there's really a value in that. Consistency is important, and it's really hard to achieve in bourbon. When you have so many variables, the types of grains, the combination of mash bills, the aging and the barrel, and how it's made, and how the warehouse is designed, and where barrels are pulled from, it's incredibly difficult to get the kind of consistency that MGP has managed to put out. So I applaud them for that. And I do think that bottled and bond is actually the right statement for this kind of whiskey. With a 14-year-old whiskey, I would typically have expected wanting a higher proof or something else different about it, but bottled and bond 14-year, I really like it on the MGP profile. It really fits what they're trying to do. So it's hitting all the right notes. It's very delicious. I wouldn't pay $200 for a bottle of this. It's just not, it's not doing enough for me. It's a really good presentation, but I just can't justify that. There's too many other good, interesting, different bourbons out there, and that tends to draw me in more than just this very classic high rye profile. I like something a little sweeter. I like something a little rounder, maybe more fruit. If you like an herbal whiskey, if you like something that's kind of gentle, and you like something that gives you a little bit of a journey without being overwhelming, without being overpowering, or, you know, jolting you out of a comfort zone, this is a great pour to have. It's not going to cuddle you and hold you close and keep you warm. It's going to make you think a little and work a little, but it's not going to be a real challenge. So there's kind of a niche market there that I think could really feel this was worth $200. I don't. I still think it's absolutely delicious. Thanks again, Anonymous, for this delicious pour. I'm going to go finish it. Oh, fuck. Cheers.